So now we're going to go into the storyboard design. This is the most interesting for people. It could be, use the word challenging if you're doing it for the first time, but also curiosity driving as you're going to go about in the process of doing the storyboard design. And we want to start the opening. I'm going to go talk about the format and then how these steps are picked. The format is the opening is supposed to have the big question, like driving curiosity or blanket statements that are either new or controversial or something very interesting or something that will make people go, God damn it, this is interesting. Like it's a hook, something interesting that the person said or something powerful question that the person asked. What's your Everest? That's interesting. You know, you have inspiration everywhere if you look. What is the top secret for climbing Everest? And it could also be one question only as well. That's great. I'm not saying this is a perfect demo video story, but again, this is the one we're going to take for reference. We all have the tendency to want things fast in the mountains. It does not happen that way. And this is again controversial and or kind of unconventional because we want things fast. Most people relate to this, and relatability is important. In mountains, it doesn't happen that way. You'll have to walk very slowly because if you go fast, you know what happened to you. You gasp for air. You know, and now that he has said that, he is going to go about the insights part, which is unique insights that he brings as a speaker, right? Big milestone, big targets require big team, big functional teams. And that, remember who is trying to speak to corporates about Everest leadership. So he's talking about that. I have a condition, blah, blah. So he's sharing about his personal story over here, right? And then, so what you focus on is what you will get, which is again, drawing inspiration from things about Everest into real life leadership situations. Then we have credibility being established. And that's like Muhammad Isa, Muhammad Isa, Muhammad Isa as your seat, right? And this is how we do that by showing different people. Also, it is really helpful to have like a working with companies picture like this one that he had shared. It's good to have the cover which he had shared over here as well. We could also go on far to use other people interview stuff in this over there or announcer using his names or like a cover like we saw in Mark Van's audio, like AI audio and stuff coming up after that. Then we go into the content part. Content is where we have unique things that we're now going to build up a story around, right? And the way it works is again, when you go on expeditions like this, you go out of comfort zone and clips, and again, interesting things that he's sharing that keeps adding up and flowing together. But I know you might be confused. Well, how do I know what to place over here? Here's what you're going to do. As you're going to do, as you're going to watch through these videos, you're going to take a note of the interesting things that they share, take a note of the timestamp, take a note of the sentences, and keep adding that into a dot, right? You're not supposed to put something in a specific framework right away. If you find in mind, then you can. But usually, if you started, this would be just a list. So what would possibly be is this tab one and then another tab two. Tab two would be just a list of timestamps with the footage like this. And we don't know where it's going to be, but it's going to be helpful, most likely. And then you're going to continue creating those timestamps throughout for each of those videos. So you're going to watch the Bahari 14-minute video and see, you know,
Climbed Mount Kilimanjaro, the highest in Africa, at 5,895 meters.
and it's like Muhammad Isa that he mentions over there. That word is helpful. And it's also the whole thing, can be helpful as well. You can keep a note of that with the remark that we're saying, not just the time stuff, because you'll get confused otherwise.
2,228 kilometers, a challenge comprising a 26.1 km track. And to talk more about these very exciting adventures, we are pleased to welcome the adventurer, Mr. Muhammad Isa. Welcome. How are you doing?
Welcome, Muhammad Isha. That can be used as well. The adventure Muhammad Isha. That is a good, thing for the credibility section. But if you might not sure, just take that up and
Thank you so much. I'm doing great. Thank you so much.
Well, I mean, we have quite a lot, if you'll pardon the pun, we have quite the mountain to get through with these questions, and I'm quite excited to hear about your experience. First of all, congratulations on these amazing accomplishments. What we'd like to know about first is, where did this passion for mountaineering start?
I always tell people you need to reinvent yourself every now and then. And I've been traveling to Europe and I've been to different mountains and I enjoy the panoramic views wherever I go. In fact, I've visited the
now he's sharing things about this that are not relevant. We just want to keep watching.
Australia. And I remember seeing the beautiful panoramic view and I had shed tears at that time. So I like panoramic views and I like going really high.
Brilliantly said. And the Seven Summits Challenge is one of the adventures.
Again, he said he likes panoramic views, and I have nothing to do with it. Like 95% of what you're going to watch has nothing to do with the demo video. It's going to be things that he said about himself. Why I did that? The demo video is like the core best of the best of the best of the best that you're going to bring, and then build it together into the story. It should flow well together. That's very important. You can't talk about apples and then mangoes and then oranges randomly. It has to flow together the story. like you said, saw in like Mark Van Ramlam's demo video, or even all the other demo videos as
Adventures
well.
that that really places adventure in the center stage of the world project. So what can you tell us about it and your interest in being a part of it?
All right. So in May 2022, I trekked to Everest Base Camp, and throughout the trek, I kept hearing about the Seven Summits Challenge, and I thought, what's that? So when I asked, somebody told me that it's about climbing the mountain, the highest mountain in each of the continents, and I thought, this is a nice project. So it started from my trip in May 2022, and I thought, why not do this?
Brilliantly said, and more panoramic views for you to discover.
Absolutely.
So what are the milestones
More not relevant stuff, but you just keep watching and watching, and then let's say this one right there, right?
To come. Ladies and gentlemen, get ready for a journey that will take you far beyond the walls of this room to the edge of possibility and the foot of the world's highest mountain. Our keynote speaker has
So all
he's
of that stuff
trekked
over here, this is not relevant. You keep watching. Muhammad Isa comes to the stage.
That changed my life. On January 16th, I was scrolling my
And you're going to continue watching the video.
Instagram feed and I saw an ad,
I watch at 2x.
a trip or an expedition to Everest Base Camp, organized by an Omani gentleman. His name is Dr. Ali Al-Ajmi. I sent him a message. I told him, are there any spots available? He said, yes. Do you have any questions? Shall I give you a call? I said, yes, I have one question. He said, what's your question? I said, do we get hot water over there? He said, yes. And that was the first miscommunication. He was talking about coffee and tea. I was talking about a shower. So for 5 days, we didn't have a shower. This is a photo I took last year.
And again, this is some fun stuff. You can find a way to integrate that in demo video if you feel like it. But otherwise, the question is, what? And if I were you, I would just take a note of that. Not everything that you take a note of will end up in the final demo video. But if there's a room to bring in some humor, that could be helpful. Like when we're building up this story, like if this story was taking a form in a slightly different way, where it was like, big frequency future, I have conditioned black band, but then ultimate goal stream. So what focus on you'll get. But if it was a story only about his climbing of Everest, that could be used as a funny part and stuff like that. The goal is you watch through the entire video very carefully, very properly, to understand the context, to get what the speaker is sharing, then find the golden nuggets like time stamping, or what is the most interesting thing that they have shared. And finally, you put it into a framework like this, so like credibility, content, you know, and then, content, and then closing, which is this part over here, right over here, which is adding up, in this sense. The same was done with Alex Dumas as well. The challenge here was he had very limited good footage. So in that case, even when you're working on the sample task, if you get one at the end, you can just suggest the client to film certain things and words as well. For example, in Mark Van's demo video, oops, 1 second. Yeah, there we go. Mark Van's demo video, you would see that there were sections where there was an AI video that was used. So you can suggest if you feel like it, that certain AI audio can be used for the credibility part, or you can ask the client to record certain clips to help flow the story better. Like one sentence adding up would make it flow better. And we can request the client to film that audio and use that as a voiceover as well. But overall, the demo video is the process of watching through all of the content. It's going to take a little bit of time. I agree with you. Putting intention into it and then putting the whole story together into a storyboard like this, that it flows better together as a story, makes sense, and drives value for people. What I'm going to do is I'm going to also now in the comments share the link of all of the 3 storyboards of the demo videos you had watched later. So you can see, this was the process of extracting the clips, understanding how the process went in terms of the clip selection. But just know it does require patience if you're doing it for the first time. If you're doing it for the first time, it does require patience. It does not happen immediately. You do need to understand, take pause, take context, understand. If you're feeling confusing, take a walk, wash your face, then come back to it. But then it's going to be very interesting as you go on in the process of just watching through the stuff and coming up with your own storyboard. The next video is about the common mistakes that people do in terms of when they're going to go about creating that storyboard. But then, you know what? I'll just run you through this content part as well of how they're going to flow together story, why one thing is coming one after another. You'd see that even when we are speaking about in the flow of the video, see how it is transitioning from the Kazi podcast to Bahrain TV. When you go on expedition like this, you have expanding your comfort zone. you know. And as he's talking about the comfort zone, the story is flowing together into mental preparation, you know. Once that is talked about, it's coming back to challenge because again, it's related to mental preparation. Now that it is established, he talks about his journey of doing it, you know, and it could be, you know, what it takes to climb the Everest. And then see how he's relating it to the corporate context again, which is coming completely different clip over here, you know, and then trust, and then moving around into different topics that are slightly touching on to that topic of, you know, leadership in the context of the speaker, you know. Hope this helps to understand better. Do this analysis on your own now of, okay, why did this make sense? How did this storyboard come together? How did the context keep adding up? How was it making sense? And if you want, you can request for additional storyboards and demo videos to be provided as well. If you want to have a look and do a deeper analysis and understanding of the whole process of how it goes about happening. I hope you're having fun. I hope you're learning. I hope you're expanding your zone of genius, zone of comfort zone, and keep going. See you in the next video.